So we come to the third and final session of your Parenting Through Pandemic course, where we've now turned our attention to a third aspect of what seems to have a powerful impact on how well our children can survive, actually thrive through a crisis. And what that is a sense of core values, a sense of kind of a guiding light through any situation. So we started by looking at what are your core values? How do you orientate yourself in a time of uncertainty or a time of stress? How do you decide which way to go? How do you plot your course? According to what internal set of systems are you able to see yourself through a difficult patch? Now, everyone is different. For some people, religion gives them these values, or some other form of spirituality. For other people, for many people, it's not something they might have given much thought to. So I know that for many people, they initially struggle when they are asked this question: what are your core values? And then additionally, how does it help you through times of stress? How do you decide in a situation where you have never encountered it before? How do you make that decision? What guides you? What informs your choices? These are the things that actually form our core values. And if you haven't given it much thought or time, it would be really useful for you to do that, because as you become more aware of what those values are, it helps you to live more directly according to those values. And of course, this is what our children need. In the way that we live, it gives them a sense, it gives them a sense of how to make their own decisions in times of crisis, how to guide and direct themselves, because they copy us. The most powerful and influential force that we have in their lives is how we live our lives, how we behave in situations when we are super stressed or very disorientated or in a crisis. They watch us. They've been watching us their whole lives, because they're learning from us all the time. And this does not mean that we have to be perfect parents. In fact, that would be a horrible thing for any child to have a perfect parent. What they need most from us is to see how we steer ourselves. So we make a mistake. How do we reorientate ourselves? How do we shift course? How do we repair the damage or the mistakes that we've made? And how do we learn from them? So that what we're actually doing in the way that we live our lives is we're actually showing our children the way to become good people, the kind of people who have the core values that are important to you, not become good parents. We don't want to just focus on our role in their lives as their parents, because we're not just training them to grow up and become good parents. We're wanting to prepare them for the whole of their lives, and initially it's to become people. What kind of a person will they become? Because of course, whilst they will initially take on our values and our opinions and how we behave, it's also absolutely critical that they then, as time goes on, they question those and they challenge them and they come to their own decisions about what kind of person they are, what kind of values they have. And we mustn't take that personally when they do that, because it's their job, their growing up job, is to challenge us and question our values and our beliefs. And for us, part of that letting go of parenting is to let them go and let them be and become the person who they want to be. But always knowing that children are unconsciously deeply influenced by how they've grown up and what they've grown up by. I mean, we all know that as parents, the times that we decided, well, we're not going to do it like that. I'm not going to do it like my parents did it. But unconsciously, probably 90% of how we do it is like how our parents did it. So just know that your biggest power as a parent really is in being the kind of person that you want your child to be. And not putting too much pressure on yourself to do that all the time, to do that perfectly, because that is equally not something we want for our children. So just to remember that what we are teaching our children now in this time of pandemic is actually giving them a toolkit. It's giving them a gift for adult life, because they will inevitably encounter other situations that are stressful, other crises, other traumatic experiences. And having been guided through this one, both in the way that you've cared for them during this crisis, but also how they've seen you care for yourself, will give them the tools for when they encounter it again later in life, or something like it. Let's hope we don't have another pandemic again later in life, that they will know, or they will have some sense of how to proceed, how to go forward. So the 3 sessions that we've had together, just to summarize for you, we started out by looking at actually probably the most powerful and important thing for you to know as a parent, that actually all your child needs from you is your love and your calmness. Any child who has a loving caregiver who is calm sees through a crisis in much better shape than a child who doesn't have that. So if you do nothing more than that, if you can find ways to show them and to be loving towards them, even when they're being a nightmare, and also to be calm, even when you feel like they're really triggering you, that is what will serve them the very best. And of course, for us to be able to do that, we can't do that on empty. We have to resource ourselves. And when we're not resourced, we need to let ourselves off the hook and go and resource ourselves. That is the best parenting act we could possibly do, is to actually remove ourselves and take care of ourselves so we can come back and do the kind of parenting that we want to do. So that's why this thread of self-care has run through the whole course, because not only are you going to need that for yourself to do the very best parenting you possibly can in these times, but also you want to model that. You want to teach your children how to take care of themselves, because that's the thing you very much want when they leave home, is how to go out into the world and to care for themselves, to take on the caring that you've been doing of them and for them, and do it for themselves. Now, they won't feel they have permission to do that if they've never seen you doing that for yourself. So there's an extra reason for you to do this for yourself. Look at your life and think, am I living the life that I want to be living? Am I living in the way that I want to be living? And that doesn't mean that we've reached that ideal perfection. It means, are we moving towards that? Are we making the changes? Are we moving towards living the kind of life that we want for ourselves, but we also want for our children? So as we come to the end of this time, these videos and this Facebook group will remain open to you as a source of inspiration and support. Please do come and find each other here, call out for help when you need it, share your successes, and that will inspire other people too. And when you've got questions, or you are full of despair and don't know what else to do, come on here, post on here, and hopefully there will be others within this group who will be able to respond. And because we all do our very best parenting when we do it together. This is what the children need. They need us, the adults, to step up and form the safety, a circle of safety for them. And the way we do that best is when we do that together. So thank you so much for joining me for these 3 weeks. And I hope to see you again soon.